The question today is, can we create a beautiful jazz fusion prog rock chord progression using only diatonic notes and a mind-blowing outside chord trick? Let's find out in this music composition tutorial without too much complex music theory. Now, to compose music with compelling chord progressions is an art in itself that can lift your music from okay to awesome. And maybe you have struggled with your songwriting techniques to come up with chord progressions that sound unique and refreshing. Or maybe you've wondered how in earth can anyone write such beautiful fusion progressive rock style progression? I mean, how do I find these jazz fusion chords? Now, sometimes using only diatonic chords, that are chords that naturally fit within the key, can result in progressions that feel a bit too safe, a bit boring even. But what if I told you there is a simple way to come up with real exciting chord progressions without having to learn complex music theory? Now watch this video, because at the end of this video you can write progressions that sound interesting, awesome and advanced. By the way, I am Rob and I am making composition and music theory lessons with very clear graphics and in such a way that you can actually see and hear good examples of how to make real music with theoretical concepts. Don't hesitate to like, comment and subscribe. Now it's very simple actually. The harmony that is used for most music, even for some jazz fusion, progressive rock and progressive metal, is essentially based on a major and a minor key. Now with strong lyrics or a strong melody, this can actually result in beautiful songs, don't get me wrong. But it can also result in a bit of a dull and predictable progression. So how do we break free from this and create something captivating without learning the complex harmony devices like tritone substitution, chromatic median, secondary dominant, and so on and so on? Now the good news is that there's quite a simple way to do this. Well, I wouldn't call it a hack because that's silly, but it is an eye-opener and it is used by, for instance, guitarists like Guthrie Govan. Not the first bloke on guitar, right? So let's see what it is all about. So what are outside chords anyway? Well, we know what inside chords are, because these are the chords that naturally fit within the key. In the key of G major we'll find 7 notes, and on each note we'll find a chord that is either major, minor or diminished. And they sound very logical together and work best if we use a specific order that is dictated by the rules of functional harmony, the tonic, the subdominant and the dominant. Now, easy peasy for you, otherwise you wouldn't watch this video, right? And if not, don't panic. Now, outside chords are all other chords that are not present in the key of G major. In the key of G major, the E flat minor 7 chord, for instance, isn't part of the key. The chord sounds a bit weird when played in conjunction with the inside chords of G major. E flat minor 7 is therefore an outside chord in the key of G major. Another example is the A flat major 7 chord. This chord is not present in the key of G major and is therefore an outside chord in the key of G major. It sounds a bit weird. It sounds outside the expected sound. So outside chords contain notes that are outside the key and they sound strange, but they can also sound amazing, awesome and give you the goosebumps. And that is what fusion chord progressions and progressive rock chord progressions are all about. And you are going to learn to do that. Now, a thing that is necessary to proceed in this tutorial is to learn to harmonize one single note with multiple chords. A simple example would be to harmonize the note G with a G major chord, an E minor chord, an A minor 7 chord and a C major chord. So we have 4 chords for one note, but when we do so, nothing special is happening. And that is because all chords are coming from the G major key. We're still stuck in the key. So now let's find chords that also contain the note G but are not in the key of G major. One of them is the A flat major 7 chord that is built from the notes A flat, C, E flat and G. Now this is a much more interesting sound because two notes in this chord, A flat and E flat, are not present in the G major key. Now if we inject this chord into a G major progression, we'll hear this. So, do you need to know what notes are in a chord? No, you don't necessarily need to know what notes are present in such a chord. You can simply visualize it on the fretboard. Play the note G somewhere on the neck of the guitar and just find out which interesting outside chord shapes contain that note G. You could even make up your own special shapes without thinking of any chord theory concept. However, if you do know something about chord theory, it is easier and faster. So watch my 3 tutorials about chord theory. Now looking at the note G, we can harmonize this note with at least 22 outside and inside chords. All those chords contain the note G. We have G major 7, G minor 7, A flat major 7, A flat major 7 sharp 11, A flat minor major 7, A7, A minor 7, B flat major 6,
B flat minor 7 13, B7 sharp 5, C major 7, C minor 7, C sharp 7 flat 5, D minor 11, D sus 4, E flat major 7, E flat 7, E minor 7, E minor 11, F flat 9, and F sharp 7 flat 9.
Whew, a bit overdone, I know, but you get the picture, right? Now the make music part. Now let's first take the D major key. We'll start with a simple 4-note line within the key, but you can do this also with an existing melody, of course. Now I will choose some random notes in this key. D, F sharp, B and A. Now I'm going to look which chords fit these notes. The only thing needed is that the note is present in the chord. Now the note D can be harmonized with all these chords that you see here because D is present in all those chords. Now I mark the diatonic chords so I can easily see which chords are outside the key. And this comes in handy later on. So now we can put everything in a kind of field of chords. And the note in the middle, in this case the note D, can be harmonized with all those chords. The same goes for the note F sharp that can be harmonized with all these chords that you see here, again because F sharp is present in those chords. You get the picture, right? So the note B can be harmonized with these chords, and again we mark all the diatonic chords so we can see which are diatonic and which are non-diatonic. And for the note A we choose these chords because A is present in all these chords. Now as you can see, the possibilities are immense. Now if we would only pick diatonic chords, so chords that are in the D major key, like D major 7, B minor 7, E minor 7 and A dominant 7, then we'll hear nothing out of the ordinary, because we are staying in the key. But if we randomly pick some outside chords we have defined just now, we'll get an outside sounding chord progression that can result in really cool sounds, and you can use them for any interesting song idea. So let's say I take E flat major 7 to harmonize D, because D is the major 7th in this chord. And then I'll take F sharp minor 7 to harmonize F sharp, or maybe better an F sharp minor 9 to make it more juicy. I'll take C major 7 or even better a C major 13 to harmonize the note B, because B is the major 7th in this C major 7 chord. And I'll take the A7 or maybe a spicy A7 sharp 5 to harmonize the note A. Now these chords sound like this. In an arrangement, it would sound really like an awesome and tasty complex fusion progression. And what I did to come to this arrangement, now I just played shell voicings of the chords in the guitar rhythm part and made a layer with E piano and synths that contained all the chords and the extensions. So it became a colorful blanket. Then I made a jazzy fusion bass line, also full of color notes. and at the end I return to the D major key, which has a bit of a Lydian flavor. And this is the result. And that is the result of using chords outside the key. And they were connected to each other by those 4 diatonic notes that all came from one key, namely D major. And still the chords had no planned harmonic connection to each other. And that makes it awesome to listen to. So what is the takeaway? Now the takeaway is that you can do this approach for any diatonic or non-diatonic melody. Just take the notes and reharmonize them in the way we did in this lesson. Now even if you do not have a melody, you can choose some random scale notes and do the same thing. Now go and experiment. Use this technique and create your own super fusion or progressive rock progressions with this technique and share it right here. Now that you have learned this fusion composition trick, you can watch this video about a chord that is the absolute favorite of any film composer. Also great for your own music to create some cinematic drama. Thank you patrons, and thank you all for watching. Until we meet again. Bye!